So, beside what is said in this interview, I want also to show you um, Mark Hollis' face expression, because I think that the way he's answering and the way he's smiling and his expressions say much more even than what he's saying. Why? Because A Spirit of Eden was a very particular album. It was an album which was really very different from what he did before. It was much less commercial, and he has been in a lot of troubles because of this album, because the record company didn't completely agree with that. But I want to show you. It's just a thought, it's just a quick thought that I wanted to say. I just want to say a few things related to this interview, because I think it's very important, and especially his Mark Hollis' face expressions, not because I want to watch his expressions, that's not the point. The point is that his expression say much more on what he's thinking than what he says, even if what he says is already very, very interesting. Okay, so I will do a few comments. This is my interpretation, I mean, this is my explanation. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is the truth, it's just what I think.
Good Rockin tonight, and we're good. Also, we'll be talking with the incredible Phil Collins. We'll be chatting about his movie Buster. After that, we'll talk with Tonite.
Mark, you've managed to avoid not only duplication of the dreaded formula, but you've also managed to stay away from any prevailing trends of the time.
Sure, well, that's just a consequence of taking so long.
Okay, so here, why he's smiling, why he's saying that it's taking so long to make an album. I think, I think that's my explanation. I can guarantee I'm not in his mind, so I can tell you what he thinks, but I suppose that he's thinking about how much time and work it took to make this album. It was crazy. If you read the Phil Brown's book, you can see how difficult, how hard, technically and nervously, it was to do this album. So now he's smiling because the album is over. It's a success. It's a treasure. But I think that when he look back at how they made it and how much time it took, it's kind of crazy, and that's probably why he's smiling.
To make these albums, I mean, it's quite hard to be a part of any trend if you're sort of 2 years between each album.
But you wouldn't anyways, would you?
No, definitely not. No, we just found ourselves in a really fortunate position, you see, from sort of like the success, if you like, and the support we were given from the It's My Life album. It's just enabled us to make The Colour of Spring in this one.
Okay, wonderful smile, as usually. While he's smiling, while saying, and for this one, of course, he's talking about Spirit of Eden, and I think that he's right to smile because he must be very proud of the end result, and he's very proud of his achievement, because this is really an achievement. This album is very particular. It's like a turn, it's another direction in his career. It was very risky, it was very difficult to do. He took the risk to have troubles with his record company, and it has been the case, but it's a masterpiece that he had to do, because from the beginning of his career he was going to that, and he achieved that. He managed to do it, and I think that when he thinks of this album, it makes him smile, because he's very proud of himself, and I think that we can all be very proud of him. Actually, I'm very proud of him, because I think this album is exceptional, and not only this one actually, but I recommend that you listen to Spirit of Eden. It's wonderful.
Increasingly more in ideal terms. You know, the album's only ever been an important thing, and it's just like now we find ourselves in a position where we don't have to do anything that we don't want to. The only thing we do is what we do want to.
Why he's smiling while he's saying that the only thing he does is they do is what they have to do, and what they have to do is doing their album. Why it's so funny? It's not so funny actually. I think that it's exceptional because usually the artists unfortunately don't always have to do only the artistic or creative part, but they were in a position, they had so much success that they could do absolutely what they wanted, and what they wanted was to do the album, and they only had to do that. So I think he's smiling because it's something really exceptional. He managed to reach that, and it's very rare. So once again he can be really proud of himself, and I would dream to be able to think only of my art and the creative part, and forget all the misery beside that. That is the dreamy position. Lucky him.
This album, what we've tried to do is put together two things that don't normally exist on record, that I've never actually seen exist anywhere on album before. Which always, for me, you have these two areas of music which sit apart from each other. One is this thing with just sort of spontaneity and freedom, and the other thing is this thing of having a very textured depth of arrangement. And what we've tried to do with this album is just bring these two things together.
So you must be, and we all must be very grateful that he gives us so much explanation, because it's very rare that artists, not only in music but even in art, explain so well what is the aim of their work, what is the spirit, how they want to do it, what is the direction, where they go. It's very rare. There is in art another artist who gives a lot of explanation. It's David Hockney, who wrote a lot of books about his art, and it's so interesting. You know, when it's someone who writes a book about David Hockney, usually it's not very interesting, but when you read the book written by David Hockney about his own art, it's fascinating. And here it's also fascinating because he gives us a lot of explanation, and I think we could be grateful about that. I would dream that he makes more interviews, or even if he could write a book about how he did this or that, or what is his intention, what he wants to do now, in what direction he's going now. That would be the dream for me. It's like an open book. It's yeah. I'm fascinated by these kinds of things.
For once, and you know that is why it takes so long, because of the approach to making this album is one where everyone who comes and plays on this album is given absolute freedom, has no direction at all in what they play. We'll play maybe for days, and then you just take a few seconds, and then you assemble an arrangement from that. So you end up with something which is very tightly constrained, that everything within it that has been played is completely free and completely loose.
So you see here is giving an explanation. He kind of justified the fact that he needs so much time to do an album. He doesn't have any explanation to give us, and he certainly doesn't have to justify himself, because an artist takes the time that he needs and that's it. But he's considerate enough to explain to us why it takes so much time. And of course, when you work with musicians who are allowed to do whatever they want to do, you can't know in advance how much time they will need. They must do it, and it takes the time needed, and that's it. So that is a good explanation for why so long.
So that what you do, you just tweaking it in the absolute basics and the fundamentals of what music should be, which is just in its attitude and not in its technique.
So the attitude, I think that is something major in Mark Hollis' work. It's the thing which interests me the most. Not because I want to copy his attitude, because of course I'm a different person, and in my art I'm going to do the things my way. But still I can learn from him, because it gives another perspective on the work, and it gives me a kind of, how we say that in English, a form of width in the way of creating. It's like thinking outside of the box, seeing the things differently, and thinking from a higher position. I very often have a tendency to think small, and suddenly when I see an artist like that, the way he is doing, it gives me a complete other perspective on my work. That is why his attitude fascinates me, not only.
That kind of intensity does take time. Are you happy with the result?
So you see, are you happy with the end result? Yes. What can you say more? He's very happy and proud of his end result. And it's the only thing to say. And he can be happy with the end result because it's exceptional.